BATEAUX PARISIENS. Join us on a discovery of the most beautiful monuments of Paris as we sail along the River Seine. With our podcast, delve into history and learn more about the events that shape these landmarks. Let's start with the Eiffel Tower, one not to be missed. The Eiffel Tower receives 7 million visitors a year, making it the most visited paying monument in the world. And yet, originally, it was to have a quite different fate. Built for the 1889 World's Fair, the tower was to be destroyed 20 years later. But the tower's architect, Gustave Eiffel, was too clever for that. He had measuring instruments and a scientific laboratory installed, and the Eiffel Tower was saved. Let's now listen to what Chief Mechanic Mr. Rondel had to say at the end of the tower's construction. Mr. Eiffel, on behalf of my fellow workers and friends, those who built the 300-meter tower, I would like to express our regard and respect for your success in completing this great construction. For the past 2 years, your name has echoed around the world. It is now time for people to come and contemplate your grand idea and admire this masterpiece. Please take this gift as a sign of gratitude. Thank you on behalf of all my friends. Thank you. May we be able to tell our grandchildren's children that we worked on the world's greatest monument. Thank you to the City Council for honoring us with its assistance in hoisting our flag. Long live Eiffel the engineer, long live France, long live the Republic.
Built in 1887 for the 1900 World's Fair, the Grand Palais was primarily intended as a large-scale venue for hosting official artistic events in Paris. Each year, no less than 15 exhibitions are held here, attracting 15 million visitors. Composed of a nave, national galleries, and a science museum, this monument was built after a contest to choose the winning design. A weekly civil engineering review from the era describes the architecture of this large-scale construction. Let's hear what they had to say. The Grand Palais, which faces the Petit Palais on the new avenue leading to the Pont Alexandre III bridge, is made up of 3 distinct parts, giving the whole the shape of a double T with unequal and non-parallel footings. This shape was chosen to preserve as many of the old trees on the Champs-Élysées as possible. The main building covers an area of approximately 23,000 square meters. It includes an immense hall with a glass roof reminiscent of the old Palais de l'Industrie. Where the 2 naves meet, an immense dome breaks the monotony of the main lines and contributes to giving the spectator a truly imposing impression of the entire structure when entering through the main entrance. Finally, an open gallery overhangs the hall and runs the length of the ground floor and first floor exhibition rooms. This open gallery can receive the public for festivals and horse shows.
The Palais de Bourbon was built in 1728 by King Louis XIV for his daughter. Requisitioned during the French Revolution, it was property of the nation and became the National Assembly in 1795. Its 577 deputies, representatives of the French people, debate, propose, amend, and vote on laws. In contrast to the Senate, the National Assembly also controls government action and can force the government to resign by voting a motion of no confidence. The Palais' architecture reflects its history. Let's listen. The facade of the Chamber of Deputies was begun on the 22nd of November 1806 by the architect BATEAUX, who considered it essential to build in the Greek style to face the Temple of Glory, now the Madeleine Church, that was being built opposite. Above the wide peristyle with 12 Corinthian columns is the main bas-relief, which represents France standing between liberty and order, the arts, commerce and agriculture, and war and peace. When entering the session room, we see the door frames are made of richly sculpted marble. The semicircular hall is relatively small, only 467 square meters in area. It is decorated with 20 Carrara marble columns with gilded bronze capitals. The walls are covered in red marble, as is the floor, which is covered with thick carpet.
Built in 1772, this square was renamed Place de la Concorde in 1795 with the aim of bringing harmony to the people and help forget the Reign of Terror, a period of the French Revolution. In 1830, the Viceroy of Egypt, Mehemet Ali, presented King Charles X with the Luxor obelisk to thank Champollion for deciphering hieroglyphics. The obelisk was erected in the center of the square, creating the largest sundial in the world. Let's hear from an article in the Gazette Nationale dated 27th of October, 1836. The raising of the Luxor obelisk on its pedestal last Tuesday led to an impromptu celebration full of movement and splendor. From early morning, a huge crowd filled the Place de la Concorde, the Pont de la Concorde, and the Champs-Élysées, plus all streets leading to it. Among the spectators of all backgrounds, there were many groups of workers curious to admire the marvelous advancements of mechanical engineering. When the obelisk was placed on its pedestal, the king stepped to the front of the gallery and gave the signal for applause. The applause resounded and was accompanied by cries of "Long live the king! Long live the queen! Long live the royal family!" Nothing could match the beauty of the spectacle offered that day by the vast Place de la Concorde. The enormous crowd remained motionless for 4 hours, eyes fixed on the monolith's ascension.
Inaugurated in December 1986, the Musée d'Orsay was formerly a railway station. It was President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing in 1977 who decided to have it transformed. Today, the museum is renowned for its collections, particularly 19th century Impressionist art, including Manet's Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe, Van Gogh's self-portrait, and Renoir's Bal du Moulin de la Galette. Let's listen to more about this art movement. Impressionism is a style of painting that uses colors to depict the painter's impression when looking at a human figure or landscape. Impressionists want to convey what they see and how they see it. They see to portray overall visual effects instead of fine details. Impressionists will usually paint outdoors and spontaneously on the spot rather than a studio from sketches, thus capturing the fleeting impressions of light.
The Institut de France was created in 1795 in the former Collège des Quatre Nations. It brings together 5 academies in one institute: the Académie Française, the Académie des Inscriptions et Belles-Lettres, the Académie des Sciences, the Académie des Beaux-Arts, and the Académie des Sciences Morales et Politiques. Together they work to further advance the humanities, science, and arts, to form independent thinking and advise the public authorities. Let's take a closer look at the best known of the 5 academies, the Académie Française. Founded in 1635 by Cardinal de Richelieu, the Académie Française is the oldest and most prestigious of the 5 academies of the Institut de France. Its main mission is to contribute to developing and promoting the French language, and to keep an up-to-date reference dictionary of French. It also awards literary prizes, the most famous of which is the Grand Prix de Littérature de l'Académie Française. The Academy is composed of 40 members, elected for life by their peers. The Académie Française brings together personalities who have exemplified the French language, such as poets, novelists, philosophers, historians, scientists, and by tradition, high-ranking military officers, politicians, and religious dignitaries. Among the best known are Jean d'Ormesson, Alexandre Dumas, Simone Weil, and Jean Racine. There is no condition of title or nationality to enter the Academy. Members just have to have exemplified the French language. Construction of the Pont-Neuf Bridge, instigated by King Henry IV, began in 1578 and was completed in 1607. Although the oldest bridge in Paris today, the Pont-Neuf was a source of innovation at its time. It was the first bridge made of stone and not wood to avoid fires. Let's listen to an extract from Joe Peckadill's article, Promenade au fil de la Seine. Pont-Neuf is the oldest bridge in Paris, the others having long since been washed away or simply destroyed. The name Pont-Neuf has remained, but the bridge was almost called the Bridge of Tears. Indeed, on the day the first stone was laid, King Henry III was deeply moved and could not hold back his tears as he thought of his 2 right-hand men who had died in a duel a few days earlier. The The work began in 1578 but was not completed until 1607 under Henry IV. The bridge had many new features. It was the only one to cross the entire bed of the River Seine in one go, and was the first bridge in the capital without houses. The bridge was also equipped with pavements to protect pedestrians from the dangers of traffic. This was more in theory than in practice. However, since the pavements and half-moons were quickly invaded by merchants, the congestion of Pont Neuf, the crowds and bustle became a recurring motif in the literature and imagery of Paris.
A jewel of Gothic art, Notre Dame is one of the most visited monuments in France. Construction began in the Middle Ages in 1163, and it took 182 years to build. Damaged by bad weather and the Revolution, it was saved by the success of Victor Hugo's novel, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, published in 1831. The French government undertook restoration work as a result of this renewed interest. In April 2019, a fire destroyed part of the monument. Let's listen to an extract from Victor Hugo's novel, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. There are assuredly few more beautiful specimens of architecture than that facade. The three porches with their pointed arches, the immense central mullioned window, flanked by its two lateral windows, the two dark and massive towers with their slated penthouses, harmonious parts of a magnificent whole, placed one above another in 5 gigantic stages, with their innumerable details of statuary, sculpture, and carving, the colossal product of the combination of all the force of the age, in which the fancy of the workman, chastened by the genius of the artist, is seen starting forth in 100 forms upon every stone. In short, a sort of human creation, mighty and fertile as the divine creation, from which it seems to have borrowed the twofold character of variety and eternity. Located in the heart of Paris, Ile Saint-Louis is home to some of the capital's most beautiful monuments and private mansions. It owes its name to King Louis IX, who liked to go there to pray. Formerly a pasture for grazing animals, it became a real district from the 17th century onwards, when it was urbanized and equipped with 5 bridges to connect to the city's banks. The island is considered a place of tranquility, and many articles have been written about it. Let's listen to the article La Belle Sommeilleuse. Do you know l'Ile Saint-Louis? There you will find 3 novelists, several poets, a dozen or so painters or engravers, actresses, a dancer, book collectors, journalists, and, not least, beautiful women. It is one of the last corners of Paris where the words calm, slowness, and silence have retained some meaning. No tramway rails scar the ground with their tracks. Buses do not enter, and past 11 o'clock, taxis only venture out if given a big tip. The rustling of the poplars, the chatter of the concierges, the crunching of the mooring ropes that prevent the laundry boats and fishing boats from escaping to sea, and, on certain Sundays, the whistle that referees the angling competitions. These are the only sounds that disturb the peace of l'Ile Saint-Louis.
A fortress and palace for kings, the Louvre became a universal museum in 1793. It has been part of French history for 8 centuries and is still going strong. The museum's collections are among the finest in the world and cover several millennia from the Americas to the borders of Asia. With 35,000 works on display, it is recognized as the largest museum in the world. As such, it attracts a lot of attention. Let's have a listen to a description of the theft of the Mona Lisa in an article from the Petit Parisien. Brigadier Pourpardin took leave from duty on Sunday at 5 o'clock. When he arrived in the Salon Carré at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, he found that the Mona Lisa was no longer in its place. The Mona Lisa's frame was found almost immediately. This frame is an Italian work of art in gilded and carved wood and is worth a considerable sum. It was discovered with its glass in the small staircase that leads to the Visconti courtyard. So, was there no one in the museum? How could the painting have been removed? We do not know. The bold thief of the Mona Lisa can only be, if not a familiar face at the Louvre, a man who is very well informed about the layout of the place. The path he had to take to reach the Visconti staircase from the Salon Carré, which leads to the Quai du Louvre, is clear proof of this.
Inaugurated during the 1900 World's Fair, the Pont Alexandre III bridge links Les Invalides to the Grand and Petit Palais. The decision was taken to build the bridge as part of the military and economic alliance between France and Russia, concluded in 1891. A real architectural feat, this bridge is the first to be straight, offering a clear view of the Invalides from the Champs-Élysées. Let's go back to the time of the World's Fair and listen to Jory Avlas's description. The Pont Alexandre III is, in the opinion of all competent men, one of the most beautiful modern works of its kind. Pont Alexandre III has two high stone pylons at each end, its main decoration. 4 lions led by children decorate the bridge entrances in front of and outside the pylons. Muscular, sinewy and supple, beautiful in appearance and impeccable in execution, these are truly wonderful pieces of sculpture. Along its entire length, the bridge is richly decorated with moldings, garlands, cast iron escutcheons bearing the arms of the city of Paris and Russia. The balustrade is made of bronze and copper. The candelabras, arranged at close intervals, are of the most elegant design.
The Palais du Trocadéro was replaced by the Palais de Chaillot, built for the 1937 World's Fair. This architectural renewal was well appreciated, and the Place du Trocadéro became a popular place in Paris. Situated on a hill, the square still offers a panoramic view of the Eiffel Tower and is dubbed the Hill of Museums, as it is home to many art venues. Let's discover the old and the new Trocadéro, as described in an article from the newspaper À la Page, dated 25th of March, 1937. The new Trocadéro has taken the exact place of the old one. Make way for the young. If we could fly low over the Pont Iéna Bridge, our eyes would see a white mass that dominates the entire construction site. This is the new palace. Monumental staircases and lifts will enable visitors to access the palace from the Place du Trocadéro. From the garden side, a vast vestibule will offer the public an atmosphere comparable to that of Les Orangeries. This magnificent construction, a fresh white jewel nestled in the surrounding flower beds and gardens, will be further enhanced by the harmonious and sparkling arcs of the water fountains. The new palace stands in the space of the old one, more modern, more chic, very 1937. Will there be a 1937 style? We hope you have enjoyed listening to our podcasts and learning more about the monuments of Paris. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to welcoming you again soon on BATEAUX PARISIENS.